Yes, you guys. Our new habit is to start the Robbi and Matthew show.
It's not a new habit.
At 1:02 p.m.
No, we don't like that habit.
Well, but it's 2 days running. Uh-oh. I have a little something on my forehead there. Guys, we were both scrambling around. We hadn't eaten in a long time. We were feeling calorie deprived. Robbi took some spaghetti out of the fridge, and then she looked at it, and she got defeated. She said, this spaghetti has to be heated. I can't do it. And so she took an apple, and then she took the apple slicer, and she pressed it into the apple, and then she got defeated. And she said, I lack the will to push the apple slicer through the apple. She said, Matthew.
This is a tough apple.
She said, Matthew, get over here. And I said, okay, Robbi, what can I do for you? And she said, push on this apple slicer, man. And then her apples fell neatly
into all of the nice pieces.
Into 10 pieces.
You.
I'm going to share some wisdom.
Oh.
It's not on the agenda, but it's important to share. When I was a young man, when I was a young man, but now also, my mother does needlepoint, okay? And she would make little samplers that would hang on the wall, and sometimes they would have wisdom. And one of them said, do not try to teach a pig to sing. You will not succeed, and you will annoy the pig. So I have always loved that.
Am I the pig in this scenario?
As a piece of portable wisdom. No, this is a non sequitur.
Oh, good, okay.
I put this shirt on just now because my other shirt was dirty, and I thought, oh, that pig, somebody taught that pig to fly. So that person did succeed, and that pig is happy. So
we don't know if the pig is happy.
Well, look at it.
The pig might have been annoyed.
It's possible, and it's also possible that no one taught this pig to fly. It's possible this pig just
knew
exercised
how to fly.
its natural given wings
Yes.
and took to the skies. But I encourage you to apply this wisdom to certain situations in which you are trying to force something to happen that it is not naturally inclined to do. There are things that are designed to be in this world. There are some things that you can bring into effect through great effort and ingenuity. There are certain things that are not meant to be, like pigs singing. One of the keys to life was figuring out which is which and not trying to teach a pig to sing.
I guarantee.
What?
If you do a search on YouTube for singing pig, you will find someone who figured out a way to teach a pig to sing. It might not be the way that we most want to hear singing, but I bet somebody has taught a pig to sing.
And I bet in every one of those videos, the pig is so annoyed. Okay? That is what I'm saying.
True.
That is what I'm saying. So, in any case, welcome back to our show. The final week, the second day of the final week of this version of the show. We're going to have a new version of the show down the line. Robbi, how's your eye? How was your eye? Let's check in on your eye.
You know what happened this weekend?
Yes.
I was like, we went on a hike, and I thought, I don't want to go on a hike because if we go swimming at the end of the hike, there's a little swimming hole, and I didn't want to be looking around into the beautiful world. My glasses aren't quite strong enough. They're an old prescription, and they always fall off. Look, when I look down, they fall off.
Oh.
So there's multiple things wrong with wearing my glasses. So my eye was feeling pretty good. I put in my contact lenses. I wore them for the day, and then my eye got ruined again. So I think there was something maybe on my related to my contact lens. Now I should have switched it out and put a new one in, but I didn't.
When you are grandparents and your grandchild is resting on your knee,
Yes.
and you're dispensing wisdom that you learned in life,
Yes.
I want you to tell them
Yes.
about not teaching a pig to sing.
Yes.
And I also want you to tell them about not flinging salad in your eye.
Don't put salad in your eye. Yeah.
These are the things that you learn
Eat your
here.
salad gently and carefully.
And I want you to say,
Not like an
grandchild, I wish you had been there to listen to the wisdom directly from Matthew and Robbi on their show. I hope that happens. I hope you invite me to listen.
There's really good pieces of wisdom already there.
Just like big heaps of wisdom.
Yeah.
Do not, what?
I'm saying move on.
You
We
to get
haven't even started with the agenda yet.
Well, sometimes the agenda
I
is...
have lots of things to talk about on this show.
Okay, all right. Robbi and Matthew, Story Hour.
Wait a minute. What are you doing?
Oh, I don't know.
Giving away the agenda for the next show.
Oh my gosh, everybody's now so
Secrets.
over it. Everyone's going to flee. Everyone's going to go try to find a pig and teach it to sing. Get some salad and throw it in their eye. Robbi and Matthew Story Hour. Day of one-word agenda items.
Oh, I didn't know that was the day.
I wanted to mix it up.
I want to point out to anybody
mixing it up.
who's playing the instant replay.
Yeah.
Matthew held that up and he picked something out of his nose.
I was
behind
trying
the
to be
paper.
polite. My nose was itching. I thought about going into the kitchen. I thought maybe I could hide behind the agenda and no one would out me. There's really only one person here who knew that, and she chose to tell you.
You should have known better.
I'm going to
Know
do it
your
again.
Audience,
I'm still a little itchy.
And also your
Still itchy.
co-worker.
Not itching my nose back here. Not doing it. All right. Did you cut any?
One word agenda items. June 16th. I was not aware of this. Hi.
Well, that's
Hi.
not just one word. It's a short word. Hi.
Hi.
I don't think there's any shorter way I could have indicated that it's time to greet you. Hi.
Music. You choose.
Pretty open-ended. I had no idea that's what was going to happen. Pretty excited. Do you know what Robbi chose as the icon for that on her magic board? It's a hand going like that. That totally makes sense, right? Because you're like, ugh.
Yeah, rocking out.
Good job, Robbi. All right, water.
Water.
Or coffee, if you have it and you want to drink it fast, which I don't. It would burn my throat.
Coffee is not a, what's it called?
Beverage? It is a beverage.
What are we trying to do? It doesn't hydrate you. It dehydrates you.
You know what? I'm not sure if that's true. I think that's a myth. All right, here we go. On your marks,
Cheers.
get set, hydrate.
Jackie dancing. Prost. Please, everybody, drink your water.
Wait, Robbi, why aren't you done? Why aren't you done with your water? Robbi, why aren't you done with your water? Robbi, why are you still drinking your water? Robbi, why is it taking you so long to drink your water? Here, Robbi, I'll let you hide behind the agenda so that you can drink your water slowly with no shame. I'm not going to tell them that you're drinking your water slowly behind the agenda the way you told them that with itching my nose behind the agenda because I'm not rude like that. Robbi was drinking her water so fast back there, you guys.
I chucked it down.
All right, here we go.
Chupacabra! If you closed your eyes and listened back to that, you would think that a creaky door in an old haunted house just opened.
It's just true. It's true.
You could be a Foley artist. Isn't that what Foley artists do? They make the sounds in movies.
Is that right? Okay, I thought Foley artists like pushed a cart around with a camera on it. That's something different, huh?
Somebody please look it up.
Is that a
What's
best
Foley artist
boy?
do?
What is a Foley artist? And who pushes the cart around with the camera on it?
I think that's
the cinematographer?
Boy.
The best boy?
I don't know.
I don't know. The best boy. Is the best boy sometimes a girl? That's what I want to know.
Of course.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Then why don't they call it the best person, or the best human, or the best lackey, or the best...
I think, yes.
I don't know. All right, here we go.
Spencel?
Well, I had to limit it to one word. What is Spencel? Spencel. Spencel.
I don't know. Am I supposed to understand this?
Yes, Robbi!
Oh, Spencel.
Coming on the heels of Chupacabra being one word. That's what we discussed yesterday. My continuing fear of the Chupacabra.
Oh!
What do you continue to have continuing something to say about? Spencel.
My lovely space pencil.
Never more do you have to waste an extra syllable in referring to your Spencel.
It's
her Spencel.
It is my Spencel.
Swats it, yo. Right?
Swats it, yo. Yeah. My Spencel.
Swats it, yo, with your Spencel, yo. All right.
Yep.
Here we go. What does that say?
Blurbs.
Oh my gosh, you guys. This morning I have been up to monkey buttons.
Yes.
So when you read a book, and you go into the bookstore, and you look at the back of the book, and it says...
Here, grab Wonder Undercover.
Oh, okay.
Do we have blurbs on
You know what?
there?
Wonder Undercover does not have blurbs for some reason. I'm not sure why they didn't use that. Real McCoy's one does, though. Let me get it.
So...
On the back of Real McCoy's one, it says, reader... Oh, see, these are reviews. That's different than blurbs. On the back of the paperback version
I
of
think
this.
that's a blurb right there.
This clever, funny, delightful book is just what the world needs.
Aww.
By, who said that? Andrea Beatty, #1 New York Times best-selling author of Ada Twist Scientist. So if you guys have read books by Andrea Beatty, they're Ada Twist Scientist, they're Rosie Revere Engineer, they are Sophie Valdez, Future Prez. Super famous, New York Times #1 best-selling.
Those are picture books. She also does middle grade books. I've read Cicada Summer.
The Attack of the Fluffy Bunnies.
Yeah.
So anyway, you guys, this is a thing that authors have to do, is they have to ask other authors to read their books with hopes that they'll say nice things about it.
Those other authors don't just come across the book in the library and be like, hey guys, I read this great book. Can I write something for the cover of your book
They
for
do
you?
not spontaneously say nice things. Occasionally that might happen.
Yes.
But any blurb...
The fact is, in order for the blurb to be on the book, they need to have gotten the book before the book was published.
That is the logic of the order of things.
Yeah.
So a digital version
Right.
of Cookie Chronicles, our new series that comes out next spring, is now available from our publisher, Random House. And so they sent us the digital version.
The digital version is available.
It's like a
to
PDF.
us.
It's a PDF.
To
Yes,
us.
just
it's
to us.
Just like
They used to make a paperback version of the book,
Yeah.
but because of the pandemic, it is very difficult to get paperback versions of books to the people who need to read them. So they're putting them into PDF form now so people can get them more easily. So I wrote to a bunch of authors this morning and said, I know you're busy, and I know that you have lots of people asking you lots of things, and I really appreciate it if you read our book, and it's okay if you don't. So I wrote an email kind of like that. And two famous authors have already written back this morning saying, yes,
we're very excited.
We're super excited.
Super nice.
There will be something to put on our book.
Yay.
Unless they read our book and say,
boo. I can't think of anything good to say
That's
about
true.
it.
All that they agreed to do was to read it.
That's true.
They didn't agree to say something nice about it. So it's really up to them to decide.
Wouldn't it be great if the blurb on the back of the book was like, this is garbage,
this
don't
is
read
total
it.
trash.
Yeah.
But if it was still by a New York Times bestselling author, maybe... No, that's not how it works. Yeah. Basically, if you agree to blurb a book, you agree to at least be vaguely complimentary about it. Yeah. So one lesson is don't take those too seriously.
Yes.
But the other lesson is they don't happen automatically. One of the things we have to do as author and illustrator that has nothing to do with writing a book is asking people to say nice things about the book, which we don't like.
Yeah, we don't like putting them on the spot. But since they have been through the whole process and they have had to put other people on the spot, they generally it's just a big circle of everybody doing stuff for everybody else.
Which is being a nice person who people like helps in times like
that. But it
this.
also helps to have a book that's worth reading.
Right. So anyway, they don't know if it's worth reading yet, but they're going to look at it, and we hope they say something nice about it.
Cross your
fingers crossed. All right, you guys.
Yep.
All right. So that's blurbs. Now, Robbi.
Yes.
Would you like to share some of your art preferences with us, Robbi?
Well, since I was lauded as the art history major that I am, and I was expected to have lots of
You totally abdicated that responsibility yesterday.
I did abdicate it.
Yeah.
Today I'm reclaiming it.
Okay.
I'm reclaiming my responsibility because I'm feeling a little bit more prepared.
Okay.
Not only did I fix all the buttons on my Stream Deck, so now it will point to the right things, hopefully. But I also brought up some of the pieces of art. So the theme of the week is art, for those of you who haven't been paying attention or weren't here. Mm-hmm. And so I was an art history major in college. So I learned a lot about art and subsequently forgot all of it. But there are still certain things that hang in my brain as things that I love about art. So...
And you learned how to talk about art.
I learned a little bit how to talk about art. Yes. Okay. Yes, and how to look at art and how to appreciate art in the context of where the art was coming from.
Right. Art tells us a lot about the society in which it was created.
So I wanted to say that I think a lot of us, a lot of people who haven't studied art, tend to think of art as paintings, number one, and also as realistic. I think a lot of people admire realism or paintings of people or real things, being able to capture something real in a painting is impressive because that's a skill. That's something that's hard to do. So I just wanted to point to this painting. So this is by Giotto. I always called him Giotto, but apparently his name is Giotto di Bondone.
Which means Giotto from Bondone.
From Bondone, yes. So this is Adoration of the Magi, and this is from the 1300s. So this is, there was a whole era of painting. So this is many, hundreds of years ago. There was a whole era of painting that was a lot of Christian painting, because painting, art, was a way to communicate something to people who could not read. So a lot of people back then didn't know how to read, so in order to get the stories of the Bible, people would paint them on sort of in chapels, so that while you were sitting in church, you could look around and be like, oh, that's the story of the Adoration of the Magi. The Adoration of the Magi is the baby Jesus. When he was born, these three kings came. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, it's Jesus, and he's arrived, and it's the Lord on earth.
They weren't adoring the Magi. They were the Magi adoring Jesus. It was the adoration of the Magi of Jesus,
and
right?
I don't actually know any of the only Christian stories I know through art history. Okay. So I don't actually know who the Magi were or why they were important, but anyway, it was a big deal. My point is...
Do you have a point?
I do have a point.
Okay.
What I love about this is that, first of all, that it tells a story. You can sort of see very quickly that there's a baby. The baby's important. Somebody's kneeling at his feet. My favorite part, though, is that in these... This is I don't know, is this Byzantine? This is an old...
You're not going to get that from me. Yeah.
A style of painting from the Middle Ages. There's always something slightly wackadoo going on.
Oh, what's happening?
So
wacky.
in this one... Oops.
What?
Oh, no. Come back.
There it is.
In this one, look.
Oh, a happy camel.
Look at the camel.
Look how cheerful.
At this guy down here. He's like, get your act together. We're doing something serious over here. Stop making those faces over at the baby.
Have you ever seen a more cheerful camel than
right?
that? Yeah.
I mean, I delight in details like this. So even though this is a painting, I guess let's sorry. This is a painting. It's a fresco, which means it's painted on the walls, and it was in a chapel. Oh, come on. Where's the chapel? There's the chapel.
Ooh.
Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
So you can imagine feeling very religious and spiritual in a space like that when you look up and there's all this beautiful painting all around you.
You know what? If you were standing on the floor, there's no way you could see what was happening in those frescoes way up there.
That's
it's kind of nutty. Yeah.
But anyway, so I love kind of looking at these old Christian paintings because there's always something a little bit wacky going on. Because I think the artists are like making it interesting for themselves. He's like, I gotta make this a story right here.
They didn't have movies or phones or many ways of encountering images. They got their images in church.
Yeah.
They got their images and they went to the chapel and they thought it was really cool.
So they're sitting around, and that's one of the things. So next. That's very, very old.
Okay.
Okay, so the other day I was telling you about the art history class that I took about aesthetics.
Yes.
What is beauty?
Beauty or ugliness.
Or ugliness, yes.
The way things look, the way things strike you.
So this class was a philosophy class about how we are supposed to know that something is beautiful.
Right.
And it turns out my professor just liked a particular painter.
Right.
And so everything that Johannes Vermeer did was beautiful, according to my professor, and anything that anybody else did. So this is a Vermeer. I just wanted to give you so again,
Robbi, it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. I mean, what's beautiful, there's a couple beautiful things about it. First of all, it's very realistic, right? You can imagine yourself in this space. You're in the dark, and you're looking through a doorway, and you see this sort of somebody strumming on her lute, and you can see I'm guessing it's a maid or something behind her looking at her.
What's going on? I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, so again, it's telling kind of a story, and so you're learning a little bit about a story, but you're like in the broom closet. What's over here? What's all this stuff that's stacked up on the shelves over here?
And why are you there?
Why are you there? And why are you sneaking and peeking and looking into these people's lives?
Indeed.
So one of the things that Vermeer is famous for is the light. So it's dark here, but you can see the light shining down on these people. So that's one thing that he's well known for. Also, these sort of, it feels like a look into regular everyday life.
Right.
So very different from the baby Jesus being born, right? That's a big deal. The stars are shining, the comets are flying through the air, and everybody's excited about Jesus.
And it's used to teach people an important story.
Right.
It's a teaching tool.
Right. This is showing you something about real people, a real day in the life. So you're getting a peek into somebody's life. So that's why I think Vermeer is famous, right?
Okay, cool.
Okay, onwards.
Is he the one who did the girl with the turban?
He did the girl with the pearl earring.
With the girl
so
pearl,
that's a famous one that you might have heard of.
Yeah.
So Vermeer is mid-1600s,
okay.
I think.
Okay.
We're
getting closer in time.
So these are paintings that I enjoy looking at, but
they don't really float your whistle.
They don't really float my whistle.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Ooh.
So Mark Rothko.
Yeah.
He's a much more modern painter. He painted this, I think, in the 50s.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
There are some Mark Rothko paintings at the museum in Kansas City.
Yeah.
And when I saw them for the first time, I was like, what? That dude just painted some stripes on a piece of canvas.
Yes.
Why is it in the museum? I'm so mad. I could have done that.
Right.
No, go on.
This is one of the things about art that is so fascinating. I agree. This is the kind of piece of artwork that I, as a kid, was so frustrated by.
Yes.
What is this about? I could do this. Why is this hanging in a museum? This doesn't look like anything. It just looks like a bunch of paint. So this actually came at a period when artists were saying, we want to be post-painting. We want to come after. We've done everything that we can to make beautiful paintings that look like real life.
It's not representational.
It's not representational. Now what we're interested in doing is we're making paintings that are about paint and painting and the canvas. So you can't look at this and be like, oh, I see that this is actually supposed to be a barn in a field. That's not what you're supposed to see. You're supposed to just feel what it feels like to have the paint on the canvas and for it to be about the paint, which is very brainy, right? That's all up in your head. The thing that I like about Rothko's is when you actually sit in front of them. When I actually sit in front of them, I feel amazing. It makes me feel really good. And that's inexplicable. I don't know why.
I love them now.
I love them.
And I find them very moving.
Yeah.
The ones in the Kansas City Art Museum are black on black on black.
Oh, interesting.
So they're stripes like this,
Yeah.
but it's the subtlest variation from black to black to black. And they're very powerful when you see that subtlety.
Well,
but
look.
when you look at it, you're like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah. So the interesting thing is he worked from like the 50s until the 80s.
Yeah.
But he did the same. I mean,
he had his thing.
This was his thing. This is what he did.
But they're super famous, you guys.
They're super famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love them.
Yeah.
They are very emotionally moving to me, and I don't
I love that one.
Right? I don't really understand why. But I think he's part of the reason why I like orange and red. Or maybe because I like orange and red, I really like his paintings. I don't know.
My dude Grant likes Rothko.
Yes.
So that makes me like him more.
Yeah. Okay. So we've moved forward in time. Now we're in the 50s, in the 60s. It's sort of about paint.
Okay.
Now, this is a contemporary thing. This is called Meow Wolf.
Oh.
Have you guys heard of this?
I have,
so
yes.
This is what's called installation art.
Right.
Which has now we're not talking, now we've gone beyond talking about paint on a canvas. Now we're going into like making art be a surround experience. Three-dimensional experience that you can go into. So I want to play this video for you.
Now, where is...
I don't remember where Meow Wolf is.
I'll look it up.
Okay. But basically, they've taken this structure and you go inside. I'm just showing you, like, part of it.
All right, we got some pretty random items here.
So this is just one of the rooms. This is somebody going through it. And there's, like, a room with shelves of stuff on it.
It's in Santa Fe.
It's in Santa Fe, okay. And then there's a mop with a wig on it.
Is this a simulation of what it's like to lose your mind?
Our friend Brian, who is a rock and roll singer, like he's in a rock band, they did one of their
filmed,
videos in Meow Wolf. Yeah.
So you open the door and then you come in to this place and you've got these gloves where you can.
Can you actually manipulate the sand?
You can mash up the sand.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of
So is it a museum
rooms.
or is this itself the art?
This itself
is the whole museum the art?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a whole series of all different
sand.
things.
Yeah.
That it's kind of like Okay, so then you're in this cavey place and you're looking around. There's different doors you can go through. There's like moss. Then you go in here and it's like a regular room. And he's like, what's this all about?
Okay, so they're starting a new Meow Wolf in Las Vegas in 2020 and a new one in Denver in 2021.
And
so it started in Santa Fe.
He said he looks around this room and he thinks, oh, maybe there's... And you open the door. Oh, you're back in a regular house. And you go into the regular house. Look, there's a fireplace. You can crawl into the fireplace. And when you get out of the fireplace...
You're in a cave.
You're in a cave
with a dinosaur.
Like a dinosaur.
Wow.
It's amazing. And so it goes on and on like this. So there's room after room of these really interesting, kind of interesting experiences.
What an awesome idea.
So I thought that was really cool. And what does that mean about art? So now we've gone from the baby Jesus.
Yes.
To like walking through a building and
with glow-in-the-dark dinosaur bones.
Glow-in-the-dark dinosaur bones. Mammoth skeleton, says Simon. So there's all kinds of interesting stuff. Now, there was one last thing that I just came across today.
I can't wait.
This morning.
Okay.
That is, we've been talking about revision, right, as part of art.
Right.
So, here we go. So this artist, Jason Patterson, he is someone who lives in Chestertown.
Yeah.
And he does a lot of art that is based on history. So he posted this image, you can see right here. And it looks like 3 pieces of cloth hanging on the wall. Right? And this is another thing that as a kid I would have been like, this is stupid. Who cares about this? This is the dumbest. It's just some things hanging on the wall. Why is this art? Well, when you learn more about it, he's actually talking about history through this piece.
Okay.
And so the blue piece of cloth that's hanging on the wall, and so the piece, he says here, the piece is a physical representation of the 3 major conditions African Americans have lived in the English American colonies in the United States. The eras represented are 1, enslavement. That's the blue one. 2, Jim Crow apartheid. So when black and white people had to live in, or separate, separate but equal, right? When
black people had to use different water fountains and ride on different buses and all that stuff. So that was number 2. And 3, the post-civil rights movement era. So that's after civil rights. So after Martin Luther King and all of that, right? So each year is represented by 1 inch of hanging fabric. So the first one, slavery, is this long. Right? And the second one, post-slavery, but sort of separate, but that's a phrase that they use. Separate.
Pre-civil rights.
Pre-civil rights, right? That's that one. And then this one. But then he says, I've recently started thinking that I would redo this piece. So this was hanging in a museum, but he said to himself, I started thinking that I should probably redo this piece. Something that I think I probably will do. I'll make a different version. Number 1, I would start slavery in the 1660s, not in 1619. Yes, 1619 is the year of the earliest records we have African people coming from the English colonies to be enslaved, but legally and economically, it wasn't fully realized until the 1660s. So he would start it later.
Okay.
And then he would add a 4th era. So after slavery, there's Reconstruction. So after the Civil War, but before separating black and white people. There was a era in which people were protecting the rights of black people, and so it was sort of like a reconstruction, meaning that they were rebuilding communities. Black people, African American people were rebuilding communities that had actual rights before the rights were taken away from them. So that was when. Anyway, so the point is that he would add a 4th one, and it was. I think it would be a much shorter one. So it was 12 to 15 years. So it would be a very, very teensy-tiny tapestry, right?
Just to show this little blip of progress.
Just to show a little blip of progress before things start falling apart again. So I thought it was super interesting in light of all of this stuff that we talk about, that artists who have had art hanging in a gallery that was official, supposedly finished art, go back and say, you know what? I would do that differently if I did it again, and I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it differently. And the other thing is, if you didn't know all of those things that I just explained about that, right? If you didn't know what that was supposed to represent, you would walk into that gallery and you would say, okay, so there's some things hanging on the wall.
And I like the colors, but big whoop.
Just like if you didn't know about the story of baby Jesus, you would walk into that thing and be like, okay, there's something.
Why is that camel so happy?
Why is the camel happy? Maybe you would think that it was about the happy camel.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
So you have to know sort of, I mean, it helps to know what the artist is thinking, but it also helps to know what you're looking at.
Absolutely.
That's what I like about art.
It's essential.
Like, so personal, but it's also personal to the artist, and it's like an exchange.
The more recent art needs more explanation
yes.
to get at what the artist was thinking.
I don't know. We just assume, I think the old art needs explanation too, but we're all used to those stories. We all know already.
I don't feel like the Vermeer needs explanation. I feel like you can just have a human encounter while you're looking through the door. It's not, you don't need to bring context to it. You can get more of an experience by knowing about Vermeer and knowing about the time in which he lived. But you need someone to explain what Jason Patterson's art meant before you can fully understand the ideas behind it. Whereas the Vermeer, you can just look. Oh my
gosh, it's 1:30.
Is it really?
I just talked the whole time about art.
What about Jennifer? I was going to show Jennifer's art.
We'll do, and we don't have time for jokes. You know what? We're going to do jokes in the next one.
Yeah, so I'm sorry.
We'll chill out on the teaching, okay?
Write your jokes
again. I just
again.
get so excited about art that I want to talk about it.
It's Art Week. Plus,
and it's Art Week.
We want to make you so bored that you're like, thank goodness they're ending that show.
This week is the last week we have to listen to these people.
All right. I hope you guys learned. I want to say one thing before we go.
Yeah.
Usually when an author publishes a book, like, no one's going to let me go back and rewrite The Real McCoys.
Right.
Like, it has been written. It's done.
Right.
Walt Whitman, who's one of the most prominent American poets ever, rewrote his classic work, which is called Leaves of Grass, over and over and over again. He published version after version after version in which he kept making revisions to it. I'm just saying, he did.
And I bet everyone in the world was like, oh my God, here he goes again.
Well, I get it.
Pick a different book to write.
There's things about the Real McCoys I wish that I could adjust because I think I'm getting to be a better writer. Yeah. But I also like that, that's done.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
I'm going to write new books now.
Right.
Anyway. End the show.
Yes.
Come join us.
We're going to the next one.
We're going to stop talking about art all the time. Do a little Real McCoy's reading. Do some jokes.
Yeah. It'll be way more fun next time.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye, dudes.
Bye.
Bye, dudes.
Bye.
See you later, dudes. Bye.